Hi guys, Gareth here from Heartfelt Horsemanship. I'm going to talk through video footage of a backing I did this last week, just to give some insight into what our trainer thought is when we are starting a young horse under saddle. This young horse is a little appaloosa. It's come straight off the felt. Very little existing training other than very basic halter training. So we'll cover quite a lot of material here. Hopefully give you an idea of what to expect from a young horse. Okay, I'm going to start off with Bacharach, just teaching him a backup. Now, we often have people say that in our videos for our courseware, it looks so easy because our horses don't know it so well. The point of that really is that you're supposed to be learning the skill, not necessarily see how have it look that pretty. But Bacharach gives us the opportunity to show sometimes that we need to go a little bit firmer. That was his first attempt ever at a backup. He actually got that pretty easy. I kind of wish it was more difficult, even though it doesn't look pretty with me having to get that firm. I have had horses where I've had to wait longer. Now the head up in the air, a lot of people get very offended by the fact that when we wiggle that rope backwards, the head goes up in the air. That doesn't last long at all, as you'll see in this video. Once they understand the pressure, they start moving off from a suggestion. Just remember, this is all based on the language horses use with each other. If anyone's been on a trail ride and they've been behind a horse that gets annoyed up front, that tail will swish pretty hard in front of him, and their firm if necessary gets even harder when they kick to the jaw. We give lots of dwell time for a horse this young, but if he does start walking back into the space, then I will pick up at the phase I left off on. Bacharach personality type is that of when he got worried, he would try and walk all over me and barge me around to get me out of his way. So the backup was very crucial for him. That being said, I'm expecting something of him here, so he is owed some cuddles and affection. If he had his choice, he wouldn't be choosing to hang out with predators anyway, so can at least make it pleasant for him. You can see how light that backup was that time, and then he started coming back in and I had to pick up from where I left off. We'll have to excuse the camera angles on some of this. The remote settings, I just set up the camera and edit the footage afterwards to try and get as much teachable footage as I can. We'll move on to the hindquarter disengagement. Relaxation is absolutely key for young horses and old horses alike, but particularly for young horses. If you're dealing with a scared animal and you don't address their fear and address their anxiety, you're not going to get anywhere. Now in terms of the time it takes, this footage is over 4 days. A little quicker than what we normally work a horse. But we just wanted to get his basics in place, and then the work riders at this stud can continue with the work. Very important to remember, our guiding principles as Heartfelt Horsemanship is as gentle as possible, but as firm as necessary is the first one. Never release on a brace. Reward the slightest try. And the horse sets the timeline. Now that last one is a tough one for people when they're sending a horse for training. They kind of want to know how long it's going to take. Every horse is different and we've got to take it at their time. There's no possible way to take a living being and assign a length of time it's going to take to get them somewhere. And this little guy did incredibly well over such a short space of time. But some take longer. Some are more scared than others. His response to his anxiety is to run into you, and they actually do tend to be a little easier to get faster progress because they don't have the long flight path. The more scared ones who want to run far, get away from the pressure, or a lot further away from the pressure, take a little longer. The other aspect, of course, is anything that's happened that's not been fantastic. Maybe they've learned some unpleasant behaviors. Those will take a lot longer. We find clean backing straight off the felt are a lot quicker than rehabilitations. When that comes down to how horses learn. Horses can learn a behavior in 3 repetitions, which makes them a lot smarter than us in that aspect. Humans take at least 10 repetitions to learn a new behavior. Where we kind of overtake them is once they've learned a behavior, it'll take 300 to 500 repetitions to relearn it, where we can adapt in 10 repetitions. This exercise here is to get a horse to follow a feel, but also get them comfortable with that rope wrapping around them. So this is the second session with him, and you can see at the level that how quickly he progressed through things. Quickly decided that I was his best mate and wasn't all that keen on leaving me. But once he understood, he went out and did his job. Now, there's a big difference between what I'm doing here and lunging. Sending a horse out in a circle, technically it covers the same, well, the reasons behind it is exactly the same as lunging. But I'm not chasing the horse, I'm letting the horse carry itself. Once it's going, I'll leave it to be responsible for his own feet. There's his first introduction to a saddle pad. We will do a video on why conventional lunging isn't something I love and the trouble that comes with it. You see Bacharachs a little bit distracted over there. Kept going because I don't want to release on a brace, but I did note his distraction. You always need to be mindful of where your horse's head is at. Horse can run away with their eyes, and you could be doing all your training and you're going nowhere. Before I started with trying to get the saddle on, I wanted to make sure he was with me. There we go, his eyes with me. Carry on. Now a little bit of a jump, but he didn't overreact to it. So I carried on regardless. And you'll notice I'm not tiptoeing around you. Once we get to the saddling process, if we've got them relaxed, I'm going to saddle him, as Buck Brannaman always says, like it's grandma's horse. that he's had this done 1,000 times. We do that from the get-go. We don't ever have to tiptoe around the saddling process. Some more sensitive horses, you might need to adjust it and start slow and then build it up, but it does make the process a lot longer. You'll notice his head is relatively level. He hasn't gone head high in the air. If his head was high in the air, I might take the saddle off and on a few times, get a little further with relaxation. But he's pretty happy. His head is level. From a neurochemical point of view, the head is level with the top line. The horse is either on dopamine or getting there. The horse's head's above the top line, the horse is on adrenaline. So I'm happy he's in the thinking frame of mind there. Not in any rush to get him moving. I'm just going to relax. Forelock rubs are fantastic for young horses. Get them feeling really good around you. If you rub that for 60 seconds with rhythm, you actually have another way to get them feeling nice, warm and fuzzy from the dopamine. I never recommend doing that on its own. The horses kind of zone out. You need to have them engaging with the communication, with the combination of a nice rub to induce some dopamine. Now I'll go through the same groundwork I've gone through before, now with the saddle on. With that added stress of dead cow strapped to his back, I want to see that he accepts that and that he can relax with that on his back. My saddle's pretty heavy, all 18 kgs, so it really does get a nice feel for a horse. I'd far rather have them get their bucks out with just that saddle on than when I'm up there. Now we take the saddle off, and I'll introduce my weight without the saddle. This is just a personal choice for me. I prefer to do my first mount without the saddle so that I can slide off easily if the horse gets bothered, then get a feel for the change in the weight of the human. You'll notice I've also only got one rein there, so that I don't ever pull back on two reins and cause a buck. So even if I get scared and I grab the reins, I've only got one rein, so I can turn the horse rather than cause a buck. Now if he stands nicely for me to just jump up and lie on him, give him a rub, and get off, give him a reward. You'll notice I repeat this a few times. I want to make sure it just wasn't a once off that I got up there and he stood still. 3 repetitions. If he doesn't move off, I'll take it that he's quite happy with that, and I'll progress to the next stage. Now this little guy's being produced for sale, so we just put the start on him. The work riders will continue. He'll go off and make a fantastic little riding horse. Say little, very fast. South African standards, he's about 15-1, I would say. This stud has got a lot of very strong endurance lines. But being an appaloosa, extremely versatile horse, I think you could do just about anything. First understanding of a one rein stop and the lateral flexion, and off again. This is his third session, but we don't spend a hell of a lot of time up there. We're getting on and off, getting really used to the yields, and then getting back down. I know it's common practice to kind of move a horse off, get them bucking and running around in fear, or another method is people would saddle the horse up, climb on very tentatively and have someone chase from behind. That's not building any communication, and that's not riding. Not judging the methods, just not what I would recommend if you want to build a partnership with a horse. Building communication takes a little more time, but there's also far less chance of a horse getting worried if they've got communication and understanding rather than reacting to fear of a stimulus. He braces there, don't release, keep that pressure on until he gives. Uncorded disengagement. Crucial aspect would be able to keep a horse calm, is to be able to disengage them when they get worried. Okay, day 4. Got the saddle on. This is his first mount. Now I repeat that process again, where I'll get up if he stands, I'll get back down. Try and get his feet underneath him so he doesn't stumble forward. Nice and balanced on his own feet. Pick up on the one rein. Give it again, he understands. It's clearly not just the luck of the draw. One more mount and I can swing my leg over. Now this is clips I would normally spend a good 5 minutes just letting him relax between these mounts. Letting him feel good about life, get a real reward, and have that dwell time. And when you take the time, it goes pretty well. He accepted that mount, I got off straight away. You'll notice even when I'm mounting, I don't do the conventional thing of pulling up both reins and then mounting. If he chose to go forward and I've got contact on both reins, I'm going to engender a buck. So I take a little loop on the one side, that one rein is shorter than the other. And if I need to stop him going forward, it'll be to the one side. And then as soon as I'm on, I've got those reins as loose as I can, unless he moves forward, and then I'll bend him around on one side and get back to loose. If you hold them in, they're going to kind of build up that kinetic energy, and it's going to go somewhere at some point, normally a bit of an explosion. Give him a rub. And on the first ride, we'll go through lateral flexions, hindquarter disengagements, and a back up, and start working on some steering. Now you'll notice kind of keeping things at a walk here. He's a youngster, he's only 3. I don't avoid letting them canter around with the saddle on, so they can figure out that they can be safer to canter with that thing on the back. But in terms of him carrying my weight, I will wait until he's further along and building up the joints and tendons and ligaments before I ask for the higher gates. Once he's really solid on his feet, then I can start working on the higher gates.
it's not good at a walk, it's not going to be good at a trot. It's not good at a trot, it's not going to be good at a canter. Yes, there's 1,000 mounts and dismounts that are going on here. I start working on walking forward. I don't mind if it's 1 or 2 steps. So that's one of the things with the horses with the shorter flight path. They might not be as keen to go forward. When you're working with the other ones, it's a matter of balancing out their forward and trying not have them run away with you. The wind is howling up there. Don't panic too much about steering at this stage. I want forward. So gait always comes from 4 directions, so just a few steps forward. And if he runs out of steam, I'll give him a rub and I get to practice my request for forward again. There you can kind of see him adjusting to carrying a weight. His legs are still kind of out behind him. I want those legs deep under him before I start working on a trot. And the only way for him to do that is to move around with the rider for a while. There's no ways to force it. No gadgets are going to make him suddenly step up. Well, I suppose you could, but that's not true. It's not an honest reaction. I think it's a great part of the process to have them figure out where their feet go when they're carrying a rider. And there's the last ride. We're leaving him off before we're handing him over to work riders, getting him moving forward a little more. As you can see, there's still a lot to come.